Hello there, glad to have you join us on another edition of the program, Focus Live, right here on OGTV, the People's Daily. Thanks for making the date with us. We are here again with another edition of the program, of course, another topic and another guest. Yes, the rains are here, and on a yearly basis, we have the rains, and we are going to be looking at how much of these rains are we going to be having this year, and why is it that in southwest and even better part of the country we experience floods when we actually have the rains around. I mean, is there anything that can really be done on our part, on the part of government, to really ensure that year in, year out, when we have rains like this, even whether they are heavy or not, we really do not get floods that would actually destroy properties and, of course, consume lives. At this point, some people are actually not even in their homes right now because, the water, the floods have actually, sacked them from their houses. So we are going to be looking at all of this. Quite a number of persons have actually said there is nothing you can do about it. I mean, it's nature. I mean, you cannot work against it. While some people have actually said that the floods that we see today, they are actually our behaviors, reflection of our behaviors of yesteryears. All of these we are going to be looking at in the next couple of minutes. I'm Dominic Agbe saying welcome to today's edition of the program. And as always, I'm not going to be doing this alone. I mean, what do I know? Mine is just to pose the necessary questions. And the people who are going to be answering those questions are right here in the studio with me. From my immediate left is Taiwo Akinwumi. Am I correct? Akinwumi.
Yeah.
Yes, Akinwumi. He is an environmental health officer. Thank you so much for making it a date with us this afternoon.
You're welcome, sir.
And to complete the team is Fikayomi Idowu, a meteorologist. Thank you so much for having you in the studio with us today.
Yeah, welcome.
But this is like my very first time of seeing a meteorologist one-on-one. We have actually been reading your works. We have, most of our newscasts, we do read, some of the reports that you release, So tell us really, let's start from there. What is the weather outlook really going to be like this year?
Okay, so for this year, and I think we've already started experiencing some of it, we're going to have some floods. NIMET, Nigeria Meteorological Agency, issued a flood warning for some states, I think about 27 states here in Nigeria. And, okay, let's start with the pure definition of flood. Flood is the outpour or the overflow of water into areas where we do not usually have water, like waters in dry land and all of that. There are a couple of factors, a lot of factors that can be linked to the flooding or to the floods that we are experiencing right now. We are all familiar with climate change. We talk about climate change. We hear it, we see it, and I think a lot of us can say we've experienced it because the heat and the kind of things we see now are a lot different from 10 years ago or a couple of years ago. And these are due to changes and both human factors and non-human factors. The increase of emissions, carbon emissions, which trap greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, which causes the depletion of the ozone layer and also trapping of heat in the atmosphere. And then there's a study that shows that when there's a 1 degree increase in temperature, there's a 7% increase in the moisture content of the atmosphere. And when there's an increase in the moisture content in the atmosphere, the amount of rain clouds increase. And when there's an increase in rain clouds, there's an increase in rainfall. That in its own is not so much of a problem. Rain falls. We all pray for rain every now and then. Even the farmers, everybody prays for rain. But the problems we have, a lot of them are human factors,
But are we going to experience much of that this year?
Yes, we are probably going to experience much of that.
Unprecedented,
for them to
like never before?
Probably. because, you know, we haven't made any change so far. We keep talking about, oh, things are changing, but we do not change how we take care of our things, how we take care of our environment. We don't care for our environment, and then we are complaining when the environment is reactive. Water in itself would always find a path. We do a lot of land filling in this country because everybody wants to develop one thing or another. We block the natural pathways for water. And when the natural pathway has been blocked, water would find its way. It would look for another path, which might not be the where it's supposed to be. That's why we say, oh, it has come to the dry land. And then it moves from where it's supposed to be to the dry land, which takes a lot of, causes a lot of harm, drainage, it takes a lot of properties and all of that. But even the drainage systems that have been constructed, people don't take care of the drainage systems. You see a lot of people dumping a lot of things in the drainage.
Well, we'll come to that. Really.
Yeah.
So let me come to you and really ask this question: how much of some of these floods that we see, how much of it is the fault of the climatic changes that we've experienced, and how much of this is actually the fault of our own things that we have failed to do, or things that we've been doing wrongly in the past?
Okay, thank you. When it comes to flood, it's not a new thing. And what actually happened is that people are not giving serious attention to what is expected of them. In the aspect of flood would definitely have no good effect on every aspect of life. Well, coming to mitigating the effect is what people does not give adequate attention to. You know, going by the topic of today's discussion is that flood wide in Nigeria on a yearly basis. It means we're not getting it right. So coming to urbanization, coming to industrialization, these are the effects from man-made that contributes, that we're not getting right. For instance, how do I mean? Number one, we have deforestation. A lot of areas, zones that are waterway zones has gradually been converted to industries. And as the madam said earlier, that water will definitely find its path. So you can't stop it. Then why the yearly occurrence? It means government too needs to do some certain things, community needs to do some certain things that are not receiving the needed attention coming from the environmental control. We have, I was around somewhere yesterday and I saw canals around that area. The canals are left untouched for years. So when there is excess water in that area, water will definitely find its path. Instead of you creating enough space for the volume of water to flow. Then coming to the community or individual contributions to this thing. She talked about drainage system. In some part of this country, some people believe that drainage system is meant for refuse disposal. So these are the things. And in some area we have, when we have overcrowding in that area, human activities, effect of that overcrowding on that particular environment would definitely affect the public utility provided in that locality, especially when it comes to drainage system. So now, what we're not getting right is, number one, our negative effect that contributes to this incident. We are not giving it the right attention. Number one thing is that a lot of deforestation activities are being carried out on a daily basis. What are we putting in place to restore the planet Earth? Those are the things we're not getting right. Then number two is policy implementation. There are policies that guide every individual and industries on the best way to use the environment and to relate with the environment. But people, or let me say, the implementation is not really strong. For instance, we have EIA, which is Environmental Impact Assessment. In some areas in the state, if you say, okay, this is what the EIA says about this proposed company or industry in this area, this is the tendency of having an increase in the volume of water that will find its way in this locality. The community will fight you if you want to stop that company, because they believe that, oh, okay, this thing will do us good thing. Our community members will get job and all that, not minding the effect of these things on the environment. And there is no way we talk about the quality of environment that human activities will not be first considered. So these are the things that made this issue of flood on a yearly basis in Nigeria. Another thing,
with the example that you have actually given, I mean, is there no way that we can actually play around, around that? I mean, because whether we like it or not, industries are also very necessary, for the industrial development of the society.
Okay, there are ways to find around it.
So rather than stopping them, why not? Okay, so why not do it this way? Do it this way, so that we will not actually run into troubles.
Okay, thank you so much. There are ways to go around this thing, but in most cases, when it comes to proper environmental layouts or planning, it involves enforcement. We have some areas that are industrial areas. In that locality, water part has been considered in the layout. But in an area which is marked, this is a residential environment, this is a residential route. So that area, another environment, now you now want to put an industry in that locality. The drainage system in that community will be affected. In my area, a company bought a very large area of land and they began filling that place. You won't believe that for over a year, nobody passes through that place because of flood. The road was so bad.
Before they actually started that construction, there was no flood in that area.
There was no flood in that area, and people managed that road. So immediately the construction started. Even the company they ran away. Now, how about the people that their place of abode is in that place? Where do they want to run to? Does that company provide them an alternative? So these are the things that contribute, that have been contributing a lot to this flooding on a yearly basis. Then let's come to urbanization. People want to live in an environment that is business-wise, is thriving. When it comes to social aspects, they want to live in that environment. So as a result of this, the public utility in that environment will be affected. Waste management in that environment. When there is no good access road, waste management in that community or in that area will definitely be affected, considering the type of truck used for collection and disposal. And once there is no effective waste management system in that area, people make use of the next available drainage system. Then in that area, do we make room for to increase the capacity of drainage system in that locality? In most cases, no. Now, it is now becoming a yearly basis. What has, at the community level, people done to accommodate the volume of water in that community? Last year, let's say 20 houses were affected in a location. What were the predisposing factors leading to this? Okay, the drainage system is not wide enough to accommodate the volume. Okay, between last year and now, during dry season, what are the things that have been done to prevent or to reduce. Okay, last year we had 20 houses were affected. Okay, this year let us determine in this community that we want 5 houses to be affected. If we cannot accurately eradicate it, no. So it is when the issue now, we have the experience, then people now began to say, and this thing happened last year, and you know, those are the things. And early this year, like 2-3 months ago, there are a lot of advocacy that this year rain will be much more than that of last year. What has people done at the community level? What has people done?
We'll dwell more on that also,
okay,
because of the conversation.
Right.
Because you will agree with me that some of these things that you are actually saying, they are technical. As a matter of fact, a layman will not be able to think and say, okay, we can reduce this thing this way and this way. It takes, an experienced person like you. So the question will now be, do you think people actually have enough sensitization really as to, okay, they are going through this particular problem? Are your offices open for people to say, oh, we are going through a particular problem, come and advise us, on what to do and the rest of them? We'll come to that. But let me come to you.
Yeah.
You release information almost on, periodically, as a matter of fact, to let people have idea of what's about to happen as far as the weather is concerned.
Yes.
And then when you also now look at the news and then you discover that a particular place is flooded, this particular place is flooded and the rest of them, do you feel bad that, some of the messages that you pass across, people don't take to them?
Oh, yes. You see, the thing about that is, like he has rightfully said, we see these things happen, but we don't make changes. It's like you are preparing for a season, but you are not preparing well for it. We all know, rainy season starts between May, June to, sometimes October, sometimes September. But you don't see people actually take steps to help with the flooding and all of that. There's something we call carbon footprint. Carbon footprint talks about the emission, gas emission and all of that per person. We talk about how, the faulty cars, how it is ecologically safer to use solar rather than turn on your generator. It is ecologically effective to don't take that car that is emitting a lot of fume. Keep that at home, because these things go into the atmosphere.
What if it is only that one that I
have? Yes. Well, okay, now there's this thing of, instead of one person taking, instead of 5 or 10 people taking those kind of cars out, if we take a bus, we have reduced it drastically. Because rather than 10 people take out these cars and put them on the road and then everybody is releasing their own, if we all take one car, we have not eliminated it, but we have reduced it. There are a lot of countries outside Nigeria that they use bicycles because they cannot tell everybody, you're not going to go out. People would go out. So they do a lot of electric vehicles and bicycles. That reduces the amount of fuel releasing vehicles out there. Because it looks like it's just one car, it's just 2 cars. But by the time they all get into the atmosphere, they trap these things, they damage our ozone layer. And when the ozone layer is damaged, the amount of solar radiation coming in is increased. And then because these gases are in the atmosphere, they are trapping the radiation. So it keeps the temperature in the atmosphere higher. And when there's increase in temperature, there's increase in evaporation. So it's a cycle. But we have to put a stop or try to make changes little by little, because if we don't try to change it or try to make amends on the climate level where we don't damage the environment further, we are climate smart about all these things, we'll see the effect on the long run. the change cannot happen overnight. We cannot expect that, okay, because I didn't take my car out tonight, today, for next week, that means the temperature in the atmosphere should drastically reduce. No. But with the right sensitization, with people knowing, because when you talk to people and you're talking about climate change, some of them don't even want to hear it. They are telling you how does that affect them. And when you're trying to explain, oh, this affects you in a lot more ways than you think, they disregard it because that's not what is on my mind right now. And the next minute you see them packing things, going out to go and burn. Next minute you see them saying that's not my business, turning on their faulty generator that releases dangerous things into the atmosphere. We need to change our mindset. We need to reorientate ourselves, and then we'll see that these little things that we think are just little here and there, they are not so little on the large scale. Because if you think it's little, this person thinks it's little, everybody's thinking it's little. We have done a lot of damage, and causes these things we now see as increase in rainfall, increase in flooding, and the flooding has been terrible. I saw some videos, and it's heartbreaking when you see a lot of people out on the streets because flooding has damaged the house they are managing, or things like that. Where do you expect those people to run to?
Some people, their houses have actually turned into swimming pools.
Yes, some people can't come out. I saw a video, and then these people, I think it was Lagos, and then they are walking using canoes in the streets.
A friend of mine said she swam through, to get to the bus stop.
Look at that.
But let's also look at okay. So I was talking about sensitization earlier on. How much of sensitization really, or how much, do the people actually know about all of these things, and probably what they can do to actually prevent the flood of next year from becoming as bad as what they're experiencing now?
Okay, thank you. There are enough of sensitization. She said earlier this year there are a lot of information given out that this year.
Information is different from sensitization.
Yes.
I could have asked that too, but I know both of you are in this together. Yes. I don't think landlords should just be giving information alone. They should be doing more than giving information.
Okay, part of the sensitization is what we are doing right now.
This is once in a blue moon.
So that is why we will plead that you make it a constant program, whereby people can know the effect of this thing. We have in a community or in this country, we have people with different mindsets towards the environment. Some will say, flood, no, this can happen. So when you do not acknowledge the effect of something, then you cannot put in the best interest in mitigating it or preventing it. So now we go along streets, community parks to sensitize people on the need to take good care of their environment. For instance, illegal dumping should be discouraged. Then early this year, around March or so, that Ogun State government, through the Waste Management Agency, arrested some people and took them to court on an indiscriminate refuse disposal. These are part of it. Then when it comes to drainage system, we have a weekly sanitation, which is the market sanitation. We use that avenue to educate people, to enlighten people. Okay, this is the benefit of what we are persuading, or we are following you up on things to do. In some cases, we enforce. So sensitization will take it to motor park, market. Then that is why in Yoruba they call us wule wule. So going from one house to the other.
We no longer enter people's houses.
We do that.
Really?
Yes.
I've not seen any of the officers enter my house.
You are here in the office, so you can't know what is going on at home.
Oh, okay. When you don't have the keys to get into
So we go from one house to the other to sensitize people on the need to live a healthy life, and the reason for them to be more concerned about their actions towards the environment. So we do enough of sensitization on house to house. Then on drainage system too, we do that. Then when it comes to climate change, you know, June was set aside for World Environmental Day. You know, we sensitize people on the need for greener and healthier environment. So we do that a lot, and some people they make good use of those sensitization activities, and some they neglect, and that is where enforcement comes in. Some people, you tell them they will, okay, sure, but some people you need to eat them with the sledgehammer of the law before they can understand that, okay, this is the need for us to change our attitude or behavior towards the environment. So we have a lot of advocacy activities. Then where needed and where necessary, enforcement is very key, and we do that.
We are going to talk about illegal dumping of or indiscriminate dumping of refuse. I mean, because for you to discourage indiscriminate dumping of refuse, places have to be provided where people can actually dump it legally, you know. But when we have more of the indiscriminate dumping of refuse, when you don't have designated places where this refuse, can actually be dumped. But let me come to you, and then let's talk about preparations that you feel, should be made ordinarily, when the rains are actually coming close.
Okay. When the rains are coming close, the best thing we can do is clear out our drainages, do all of that. It creates the path for the water, or clear the paths that have been obstructed. Because on the climate scale, on the large scale like that, the little we can do is prevention of how bad it can get. We can't travel back in time to go and change all the mistakes people have made. But if we start taking one wise decision every day, we can help the future generation. Okay, but the little things we can do would be, okay, this is not the time to go out and start throwing things inside the drainage systems. This is not the time to be landfilling the ocean. I feel like, we've heard about the melting of the ice caps, which has increased the amount of water in the ocean. If the ocean is full, even when water drains into the ocean, there's already a lot of water in there. So when water goes, it is overflowing because there's a lot. And then to now add landfilling on top of that, the space already is not enough, because we've moved it, we've shifted the borders. Now there is flooding, there's an increase in water that goes into the ocean. There's no space for it, and there's no space for it to move into, because we have erected buildings, we have done all of that.
A video actually went viral sometimes last week, and then this man was saying he has actually been living, it's Lagos. He said he has actually been living in that area. I think it's Lekki, I can't remember. He said he has been living in that area for years, and that his house has actually not been flooded before.
Yeah.
That, and then he's now blaming the construction work along the Badagry.
Okay, that
the coastal road. So he was now saying it's largely because of the coastal road construction that has actually led to the flooding of his houses and other houses probably. Is there a possibility in that?
Yes, there is a possibility, because, the areas in which they stay, you see, this Lekki and all of those are areas that are known for water, there's water. But we have a problem where we see a lot of things as class. Oh, Lekki is there's a high class to it, the buildings there are nice, and these people are consumer-based construction workers. They'll come, they'll hear that, oh, people are buying this thing, people want more of this. So what they do is they feel more, they build more. They feel it, they build more. So little by little, let's say, okay, a little was manageable. But now we are greedy, we are taking more, we are taking more, we are taking more. We are constructing in places we should not be constructing. As I rightly said, we have the industrial zones, we have the residential zones, and then you're taking because you want more. And then when you look around, there are spaces that have not been opened up, that they are not water zones. You drive through some places and then you see land, expanse of land. But no, we want the places that are already known. We don't want to develop in new areas. We don't want to start out new places. And we need to enlighten ourselves about afforestation.
Any new place in Nigeria today is like a village. Nobody wants to go start
if you develop it, before you know it, it would spread, it would pick up.
I quite agree.
Yeah.
But is that also not a problem in itself? Because, I mean, in those places you have is it the greenhouses, how do you call them? You know, and so when you are also encroaching these areas, bringing down the trees and the rest of them, is that not having the same impact?
We do a lot deforestation, but we need to also, in our little ways, to increase the trees. If you have 1 or 2 trees in your compound, you have made a difference. Because if we talk about the increase of carbon in the atmosphere, these plants take out the carbon. They can help us filter it out. And when there is a reduced amount of carbon in the atmosphere, the heat trapping gases and all of that reduces. We might not see the effect in 2 weeks, but on the long run, it's not every. Yeah, I get what you're saying about these places that have not been developed. They are the ones that have the trees. But the places that we are going to develop, we are pushing the boundary of the ocean. We are pushing it back, And then when the rain starts, when there is water everywhere, it will push back too, because it needs the space. But there's no space anymore. People are living there. Then water disturbs the peace of everybody in the environment. So it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of sensitization, a lot of new pathways.
And sometimes in those situations, there's no hope.
In places like that, sometimes
you just have to carry their cross every year and follow Jesus. Well, the program is still focused like right here on OGTV. They are actually taking a look at climate change, why Nigeria floods every year. My guests are still in the studio. They are not going anywhere. But we'll quickly go on this break. When we come back, the conversation will continue. Glad to have you join us again on the program, Focus Live right here on OGTV, the People's Daily. And the focus this afternoon is on the perennial flooding, really, that in parts of the country, year in, year out. I mean, is there a way out, really? Can respite actually come to people who actually live in flood-prone areas such that they can actually, year in, year out, they can be in their houses and not have any cause to worry? The conversation is continuing. My guests are still in the studio. I have Taiwo Akinwumi in the studio, an environmental health officer, and Fikayo Idowu, meteorologist. Now, you can be part of the conversation as well. The number for you to call will be on the screen. Feel free to call us. If you have any question whatsoever, feel free to call and ask those questions. Okay, so let's talk about indiscriminate dumping of refuse. You are from the Ministry of Environment, really. You know, so if the government is actually going all around to arrest those who dump refuse indiscriminately, understandable, perfect, right? Okay. You know, but are we also making available places where refuse can be dumped, and you know, people from the ministry, you know, would actually, or from agencies? I mean, because we know that if it becomes a problem, government would actually be forced to solve the problem. You know, so I don't think government should fold his arms and say people should sort their waste issues themselves. There should be some intervention, really.
Okay, thank you. When it comes to curbing indiscriminate refuse disposal, we have categories of waste management in the state. We have the industrial category, then we have residential, which is called house to house. Then each community, each estate, each street has already allocated waste contractor, which the primary place of assignment is in that area, to pick people's refuse from house to house. Having a designated place in a community or in a street is, if you see that, is illegal. So each house is expected to have its own waste bin, whereby waste generated in that premises, they dump it inside that waste bin. Then at the appointed time or agreed time between the community representative and the service provider, they can now, okay, you come to our community every Thursday, you come to our community every Monday. So we know that on Monday, okay, the service provider will come to empty my waste bin. So there is no need for you to take it, and when, as people practice a lot on going to work early in the morning through the window of their car. No. Then we have the industrial one. That one, they go to the industry, they have a service provider allocated to them to service them and pay. This is where the problem lies. Two things. Number one, the payment aspect of this arrangement. An average Nigerian wants something free. So, and these people, most of them, they approach the bank to get loan to start up this thing. So, you see, in most cases, you see payment not flowing into the service provider as expected. So when someone is not mobilized enough, how do you expect that person to service you effectively? Then when it comes to market areas, parks and all that, there are some areas that it is government's responsibility to pick. Like, you know, we have some big waste bins at Kuto Market and some other areas. It is government that is responsible for a disposal of that. But people are people are running away from their own responsibility, which is the payment. So that is why now some communities or estates that default in the aspect of payment, then the agency will now bring out their officers to go there. Why are you not paying? Your service provider reported you that you are not fulfilling the part of the contract from your side. So that is where enforcement comes in. Then when it comes to market and the public place like that, it is government responsibility in taking care of that market. You see, I think early this year or last year, some markets in Abeokuta were sealed up because of sanitation issues. So a market that was sealed for maybe a week, 2 weeks, people that are making use of that place are already acknowledged the economic loss on their part. So they will, for every reason that they could, prevent the occurrence of sealing that place. So that is what the agencies are doing. Then when it comes to all these medians on the highways, people turn to dump site. Those are the people, like, I think in April or May, over 100 of people were arrested.
And what happened?
Some they took them to court and they were giving community service. They were giving community service. So when you see someone from your area, or the Olori Ebi or Mogaji of your compound, you see him on the road sweeping without you having the privilege to help in that. But even you don't want to identify with that person, so that thing is there.
But did you follow that to the latter?
Of course, we approached the court of law and from there, that was why they were given.
They served 3 sentences.
It depends, it depends on some issues like that. Law says that, okay, options of fine, give them community service. In some cases whereby you have a reoccurrence from that particular thing, then the law stated another level of punishment for that kind of person. So these things are in place, and we implement them. It's just that when you have not been trapped by that law, you not know how effective it is.
But do you think that has now changed people's disposition, in doing that? I mean, as people's behaviors improved.
People's behavior improved. Yes, people's
people
behavior.
That dump refuse.
In most areas that operation, the operations were carried out, those people, the areas are a bit calm now. This is a routine thing. It's not a one-time off. Then you think people
some persons are of the opinion that you never warned them against doing that. They just saw your officers appear one morning and then
yes, that is why.
You just grab the person from the back.
Yes, a lot of warnings are there. Those that are dumping illegally or indiscriminately, they are fully aware that they are committing an offense. Why are they doing it early in the morning or late at night? Because they know that their actions is not accepted by law. That is why they decided to do it at night. And that is why I decided to do it early in the morning. So the people that we caught like that are appearing like that, you don't have to warn them. You don't have to warn them. For instance, in these premises now, someone can just dump very late. But will you allow someone in the daytime like this to come and you apprehend them? So you don't need to warn that person.
I quite agree with you. But a campaign, I mean, nothing would be wrong if a campaign on radio and TV, is done to tell people that it's now prohibited for you to actually dump your refuse, on the road along the median, so that anybody that now is caught doing that particular thing will not hide under any excuse whatsoever that, oh, I never knew that it's now an offense. I mean, because a video also went viral just yesterday. A woman, I think it happened yesterday. Then it went viral this morning in Cross River or thereabouts. Some of your colleagues over there actually arrested the woman. She came out in the morning, to dump her refuse, and then she was arrested. And then she was saying, did I kill anybody? I only dumped refuse on the road, But of course, that behavior, I mean, may not kill somebody now, but might actually kill somebody, sometime in the future. We understand what you are doing, and we must commend you for that. But let us also look at some of these things. Sometimes, I think 2 years ago, I can't remember, when the Lagdo Dam issue actually happened, and then they said, I think from Cameroon or thereabouts, they opened their dam, and then it flooded Borno and neighboring states. In fact, even me, that's from Delta State, my father's compound was also heavily flooded. I wouldn't know whether it's actually the flood from that area, that got to, from Borno, that got to, Delta over there. But the question is, if we do everything rightly, do you think that incident, like that of the Lagdo Dam that we experienced, will not happen?
The one of the dam is quite unfortunate, because dam stores a lot of water, and when it is released, it is a lot. So the little changes you do here and there might not be as effective when it comes to that amount of water, because it's a different thing when it is your constant rainfall, little by little, there's a build up, there's saturation. But this one is coming in large amounts. It's a bit difficult addressing that on your own path. But I can't say, oh, when there is a dam overflow, all you need to do is do this. It is a bit more technical because it is a large scale of water coming in at once. It is not little by little when we experience rainfall.
The program still Focus Live right here on OGTV. Probably by now we should have the numbers on the screen so that those who actually want to be part of the conversation or have one or two questions to ask can actually be part of it. So let us, are your doors open really? Are your offices open for people who are actually affected by, flooding in their area to come and, seek your opinions really on how to navigate, this challenge?
Okay. Our office are open. It's just the technical aspect of putting the environment first in your action. Firstly, we should be mindful of our action. What is the effect of this action on the environment before you proceed with that action? So our offices are open to people to come in. We do tell them that CDA, CDCs, if you identify an area in your community that is a threat environmental wise, then you come to us. They're okay, this is the situation. Okay, this place used to be a water path. So what is this situation going on in this area? So who approved this? Who approved it? So in most cases, we resorted to alternative dispute resolution. So you part of your land, maybe 6 feet, can you leave? You part of your land, maybe 4 or 5 feet, can you leave? So that we can expand water carriage capacity in that environment. So those, in most cases, some people are willing to do that. Then in most cases, then when you identify that problem and the concerned people in that community are not ready to cooperate, that is when we enforce, because the effect of flood is just too much. Number one, the economic effect, then the medical effect or health effect too, then the social effect too. Those are the things we consider most. Then when you now list all these things for them, then you know, okay, instead of you living out 6 feet, you giving away like 5 feet. So which one is most preferable? So that is what we resolve. But in most cases whereby we have some strong people in that community that are not ready to, that is when we enforce law. Then in most cases we do tell them that if you see your community that you are so much familiar, you know your community more than we do in most cases. You understand? So okay, last year this area, okay, this area, let us increase to this level. So it's a practical thing. So we encourage people to come to our office to say, okay, this is what we are facing in our community in the aspect of environmental settings and layouts. This is what we are experiencing or facing. Then human activities are the major source or primary source of all this effect of flooding and all that. So if you have some people in your community that their activity is detrimental to your health or to the environment, we do tell them you can come to the office, report, and your identity will be protected in that area. Some people don't know that what they are doing is detrimental, while some people do it deliberately. You understand? So if someone that your septic tank in your community is on water path, in that community you are trying to, not trying, you are directly or indirectly inviting epidemic in that community, because that effect alone does, the negative effect of your actions, of what you've done, does not stop within you. So it flows around. You know, in that area, we don't put in alternative dispute resolution. We make use of to action. Okay.
So when people come to your office, to consult you, for help and the rest of them, does it come with any financial commitment?
No financial commitment, because in most cases these things are infrastructural review and upgrade. In most cases, so it doesn't come with any cost.
So let's, as we custom, really, we know that floods do not just destroy property or lives. They also destroy livelihoods like farmlands. There are ponds that have actually been washed away by flood and the rest of them. So do you also interface with farmers? I mean, because I know that your information that you give out, I mean, they would also really need it.
Okay, so like the flash flood warning that was issued this year, I think it was everywhere on the news. It was, in fact, when I picked up my phone, if you open Google, well, sometimes if you have been familiar with checking updates like that, you get notification. When you open your Google, you see it as part of the thing. I think people need to embrace checking weather updates more. A lot of people don't believe in it. But it has a lot of advantages. If I'm going out now and I look at it and I see, oh, there's a 70% probability of rain, I know I'm supposed to hold my umbrella with me. But when we see that on the long run, we can prepare better. I say that this week, there's going to be this rainfall, there's going to be rainfall, increased amount of rainfall today, tomorrow. I'm not supposed to wash clothes. Tomorrow is going to be sunny. Yes, I can do that. So we can adjust our patterns by getting conversant and getting familiar with looking at weather updates. And then when we look at weather updates, it would, tell in the differences and the choices we make.
Most thank you sincerely for your time with us this afternoon, taking a look at the climate change and why Nigeria will always flood year in, year out. I've been speaking with Taiwo Akinwumi, Environmental Health Officer, and of course, Yukayomi Idowu, who is a meteorologist. Thank you, gentlemen and women and lady, for your time. Of course, we also thank you for watching the program Focus Live right here on OGTV. That's the size for today. Next week, we're going to be back with another edition. Enjoy the rest of your week.